Newly appointed Catholic bishops will get training on how to deal with child abuse from a panel of experts, including victims. It's all part of the Pope's push to root out sexual molestation within the Catholic Church. The move is considered a major step for a commission that was set up by Pope Francis and that has struggled to be fully accepted within the Church's power structure. The worldwide sex abuse scandal first came to light in Boston in 2001 when it was revealed that predatory priests were moved from parish to parish instead of being reported to the police. Boston attorney Mitchell Garabedian represented hundreds of survivors of clergy sexual abuse, and his character was featured prominently in the film Spotlight. He's in Boston. Since the Boston Globe's investigation over a decade ago, how have you seen the Vatican change in its approach to sexual abuse cases?
It really hasn't changed. The speeches may be smoother, and the cosmetic effect may be a little more effective, but the litigation continues. The Vatican still tries to disprove cases of clergy sexual abuse. If the case is outside the statute of limitations, the Church still takes a hardened stance of, well, that's too bad. We're not going to try to validate your claim. We're not going to try to help you heal. And many survivors and sexual abuse victims are re-victimized through such an approach. The secrecy continues. There is a lack of transparency. Really, not much has changed.
If you say not much has changed, are you saying also that Pope Francis has had no impact here?
Well, again, it's a cosmetic effect. If you look at what's behind the speeches, I'm involved in representing a multitude of victims from here, Haiti, around the world, around the country, who are involved in litigation. And the Church is fighting these cases tooth and nail. And another example would be when a person reports being sexually abused by a priest that has never been named before, the Church just takes a hardened stance and says, you can't be telling the truth. This priest has never been named before. For instance, Father Mitch Walters, Diocese of Newark, New Jersey. Recently, we outed him, and the Church, the diocese said, how dare you? Father Walters has never been named before. Yet 5 victims have come forward since that one victim first came forward. So the lack of transparency and, unfortunately, the secrecy continues to this day, and it's very disappointing, and it's a re-victimization of survivors and victims around the world.
Well, and yet right now, I mean, that's a strong statement. Right now we have commission members praising the new training courses as a breakthrough. It sounds like you would not agree. This is not a breakthrough. It's cosmetic?
It's just cosmetic. Look at the training. Who is on this commission? The Congregation of the Doctrine and the Faith, which has been in effect for over 50 years, was really who had the job of looking into clergy sexual abuse for decades. Now on this commission, for instance, you have Cardinal Sean O'Malley. Cardinal Sean O'Malley in the 1990s was the cleanup man of the clergy sexual abuse crisis in Fall River, Massachusetts, the Diocese of Fall River. Then he moved on to clean up the sexual abuse crisis in the Diocese of Palm Beach, Florida. Then he moved on to clean up the sexual abuse crisis in the Archdiocese of Boston. So for more than 20 years, he's been cleaning up sexual abuse crisis around the world, around the country, I should say. And yet now he's heading the commission. So you sort of have a commission with regard to the priests on it who don't understand the severity and the trauma related to clergy sexual abuse, now teaching new bishops. Well, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, then, Mitchell, if the changes are only cosmetic and if the victims are being re-victimized by the lack of change, I wonder, and this is a big question here, are there new victims being created? Do you think the problem persists at the parish level?
Without a doubt. Individuals who've been sexually molested by priests, come forward when their coping mechanisms allow them to come forward. For instance, now individuals who are about 30 years old are starting to come forward.
Are you saying that currently kids are still at risk with priests, and those priests are not being reported to the police? They're being shuffled within the church structure?
Oh, without a doubt. How could you think otherwise? This has been going on for decades upon decades upon decades. There's no substance to this commission. This commission is just another layer of bureaucracy. As I said earlier, the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith was the commission that was supposed to investigate these matters for decades. What did they do? They just hid the problem, and it's cosmetic in effect, and it's shameful, and it really doesn't help victims at all to be re-victimized.
Well, wow. We certainly hope you're not correct, but you may be. Now, what still needs to be done here, then? Give me your magic wand if you ruled the world scenario here. What would you do to fix this in the near term, to protect past victims and also prevent what you say is currently happening, ongoing abuse?
The church has to release all its documents which show that clergy sexual abuse took place. It will help victims to heal, to see the church release all of its documents, all the dioceses, all the archdioceses, the Vatican, Rome. They have to allow victims to see the documents which represent secrecy, which represent victims being sexually abused. According to canon law, sexual abuse reports must be written down, and that's what we were able to show in Boston, that the documents did exist, and those documents around the world must be released, there must be transparency, so victims can look at those documents and say to themselves, see, I wasn't at fault, it was not my fault, I was just a child, I didn't do anything wrong, I can try to heal now, I can try to gain a degree of closure. There really has to be an independent investigation of what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what to do about it in the future. This is just the cosmetic effect.
Well, Mitchell Garabedian, thank you very much. It sounds like Spotlight 2. You didn't expect a sequel, but there could be one. I appreciate your point of view. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.